Live from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Darian Letty in for Jess. It's the first alert day on this Friday. We're still dealing with those frigid temps. They won't seem to be going away right now. Our David Burgett joins us out on the weather patio where he is braving those temps. How's it feeling out there, David?
Darian, I am braving those temps. It was bitterly cold, as we all know, this morning. That's why we had a first alert day in place really for the morning hours. This morning, low temperatures overnight, they were peaking into the negative single digits around the region here. In Rochester, we did see negative 6 degrees, while everywhere else we're in the negative single digits. So it was very cold this morning along with our wind chills, but we warmed back up to about 2 degrees here in Rochester, into the above the zero here in the single digits around the region, and more overcast skies right now and a few flurries outside, but visibility has been reduced in some areas, potentially for some fog or some low-hanging stratus clouds in our atmosphere too, in the lower atmosphere this morning. Tracking some high pressure that's going to be building into our forecast really for this weekend and will dominate through Saturday through Sunday in our region, bringing us some more sunny skies for tomorrow, but cloudy skies persisting right now and throughout today. But take a look now. Our wind chills are going to dip down into the negative 20s and negative 30s potentially tomorrow morning. That's why we have another first alert day for tomorrow morning in place around the region and for here in Rochester, and a wind chill advisory based on the National Weather Service. But next week, though, we are going to be tracking a warm up here in the Weather Center, a big one for milder temperatures. I'll have the latest details on that coming up in just a few.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, David. A quick note for residents in 2 northeast Iowa communities: a snow ordinance is in effect for Clear Lake and Ventura. This went into effect at 6 a.m. That means all vehicles must be removed from public streets and alleys until they are cleared and the snow has stopped falling. A search warrant led to a major drug bust in Austin. According to the Austin Police Department, around 1:45 Thursday, Southeast Minnesota Violent Crimes Enforcement Team, Austin Police, and the Mower County Sheriff's Department executed a search warrant at a house located at 511 4th Street Northwest. This came after a long investigation into the trafficking of methamphetamine. During the search warrant, authorities found approximately 2.5 pounds of meth, along with items associated with the use and sale of it. Police arrested 40-year-old Patrick Dion of Austin. He was taken to Mower County Jail on first-degree drug charges. At the time of the arrest, he was out on bail for a first-degree sale in a school zone. Now to continuing coverage. The Fillmore County Sheriff's Office investigation into the deadly crash that claimed the lives of 2 Amish children is now complete. It's an announcement nearly 4 months in the making. Now that the Sheriff's Office has done its part, the case is now in the hands of the Fillmore County Attorney's Office. Brett Corson is in charge there. He tells us there's a number of investigative reports to go through, so he was unable to offer up any sort of timeline for a final decision on potential charges. The crash at the center of this investigation happened on September 25th in Sumner Township, north of Spring Valley. 4 Amish children were on their way to school on a county road when authorities say their horse-drawn buggy was hit from behind by an SUV. 7-year-old Wilma Miller and her 11-year-old sister Irma Miller died on the scene. The 2 other Miller siblings have since recovered from their injuries. Initially, investigators named Sarah Peterson of Spring Valley as the driver of the SUV. However, court documents later revealed investigators believe it was actually Sarah's twin sister Samantha behind the wheel. Those documents allege the 35-year-old Peterson sisters switched places at the crash. The documents state Samantha was high on meth at the time of the crash. We have an update now. After more than 6 months of negotiating, Casson-Manorville teachers and the KM School Board have reached a tentative agreement on their expired contract. The KM Education Minnesota Local 7124 union says it will take a few more weeks for both sides to hopefully approve the new deal formally. The exact details of the tentative agreement have not been shared yet publicly. Teachers have been rallying for better pay and health insurance since July. The union represents 149 of the 150 teachers at KM. Starting today, eligible voters in Olmsted County will be able to vote absentee in the upcoming presidential primary. Absentee ballots should be completed and returned to the Olmsted County Elections Office before Election Day on March 5th. Ballots will also include a prepaid envelope if you prefer to return it by mail instead. Voters are able to apply for an absentee ballot online. Plainview Milk Products Corporation has been fined $20,000 for industrial wastewater violations at its Wabasha County facility. The State Pollution Control Agency says the co-op allowed about 6,900 gallons of cream, and it spilled inside its facility to drain through its wastewater and sewer system, which leads to the Plainview Elgin Sanitary District wastewater treatment plant. This apparently happened last April. The flow of cream caused Plainview Milk to exceed the facility's daily maximum discharge limits to the wastewater treatment plant. The spill overwhelmed the facility's wastewater tank, causing 100 gallons of cream-laden wastewater to enter a city storm sewer. The company failed to immediately investigate and report these to the Minnesota duty officer and the MPCA as required in its permit. In addition to paying the $20,000 civil penalty, Plainview Milk has completed a series of corrective actions. Former President Donald Trump is looking to the Supreme Court to help keep him on Colorado's Republican primary ballot. He's seeking to overturn a state ruling that found him ineligible to be on that ballot due to his alleged role leading up to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. In December, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that the clause in the Constitution's 14th Amendment, which bans an officer of the United States who engaged in insurrection from running for federal offices, applied to Trump. Trump's lawyers have filed a brief laying out his position ahead of oral arguments scheduled for February 8th. The plaintiffs have a January 31st deadline to file their own briefs to the Supreme Court. Congress passed a funding bill to avoid a partial government shutdown that would have started this weekend. The measure now goes to President Biden's desk. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington. She has more.
On this vote, the yeas are 77, the nays are 18. The 60-vote threshold having been achieved, the bill is passed.
Government shutdown averted for now. Congress passed a measure that extends funding through two dates, March 1st and March 8th.
A bipartisan, bicameral CR, which keeps the government open and gives us time to negotiate and pass full-year funding bills.
We are gathered once again to kick the can down the road.
House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer reached a deal on how much to spend. Lawmakers still need to agree on 12 appropriations bills that fully fund the government for a year. Now, this funding bill is separate from negotiations over a national security package that would provide aid to Ukraine and Israel. Disagreements about border policy remain.
Whatever we adopt has to be very strict in border security.
But that has to be done in a bipartisan, common sense, humane, effective fashion.
The Biden administration requested $110 billion for wartime spending and border security. Lawmakers now have more time to work out their differences, but reaching a deal is far from guaranteed. Some far-right House Republicans are pressing for a strict border deal that Democrats will not support.
It may be time to throw some stones in the Med City. We had a chance to catch up with the Rochester Curling Club before a weekend full of competitive curling action at Little Thistle Brewing. The club's Bonspiel, known as Frost, Froth, and Flannel, is happening today through Sunday. It's the club's annual curling tournament. One of the board members says Thursday was one of the first curling events they've had outdoors due to the relatively warm conditions we started with this winter.
We've got like 5 local teams and also from Owatonna coming out and really enjoying this kind of unique opportunity to curl on outdoor ice.
This year's tournament is especially unique in that tomorrow is the inaugural Minnesota Curling Day. If you're worried about the cold, the curling club also meets indoors at the Rec Center and at Graham Arena. An activity to help you get through the winter. Seems like a fun one there. Electronic pull tabs may become a thing of the past in Minnesota starting next year, and it could impact local charities, including youth sports. What parent and coaches need to know? Up next. During the last legislative session, a new law banned electronic pull tabs at bars and restaurants starting next year. This would impact organizations that benefit from charitable gambling. Now, Senator Jeremy Miller out of Winona has proposed a bill to fix this issue. It's included in Miller's new sports and betting bill, but a local charity is still hesitant until it passes. The Byron Youth Football Association says the bill was passed quickly at the end of the session with minimal discussion. In Minnesota, charitable gambling collects about 3 cents on the dollar. Businesses collect roughly 15 cents on the dollar. Oftentimes, this is used to pay rent or employees. The rest goes to the state.
If you live in Minnesota, every single person benefits from charitable gambling, whether you're a part of it or not. The taxes that come in from it go to our state budget.
Organizations will still benefit from paper tabs, but 75% of donations come from e-pull tabs. Byron Youth Football has benefited from charitable gambling since 2019, donating roughly $100,000 every year to things like town festivals, the fire department, and Boy Scouts. Businesses and charities will get a chance to voice their concerns to legislators at the Rochester VFW next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Your midday markets are right after a quick check-in with David.
Temperatures are still into the single digits around the region this afternoon, but I'm tracking a big warming trend all starting after this weekend. I'll let you know how warm we're going to get coming up here soon. Here's your look at your today's farm markets.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist David Burgett.
We have been dealing with those sub-zero temps for a few days now, and David, looks like they're not going anywhere just yet.
Not just yet. We have to make it really through this weekend to get over that first, the last initial hump before we get to warmer temperatures. That'll be more mild on the way. But right now around the region, we're seeing a lot of those overcast skies. Typically what we see here in winter with all those stratus clouds low hanging, just hanging out around our region this afternoon. Some of us this morning did see some flurries into the forecast. That's not totally out of the picture yet. We still have a chance to see some flurries throughout the afternoon, but really just overcast skies here in Austin, Rochester, and Lake City with that frozen lake right here. And right now around the region, we're seeing wind chills below zero still, like much of we've seen this week. Below zero here in Rochester at -17, and up here in Red Wing at -7, just 10 degrees warmer for that wind chill. But temperatures for our air temperatures are going to be into the single digits still around the region. We're seeing cold wind chills right now because of the winds out of the northwest, peaking around 10 to 15 miles per hour around southeastern Minnesota and northeast Iowa. A lot of cloud coverage hanging out, a little spotty in some places. That'll be here really through the afternoon and evening hours, with the chance of some flurries here like it's indicating here in Rochester. So to take a little bit of a wider view out, we are going to be seeing some more cloud coverage up towards North Dakota here, but take a look, all this high pressure building along some of our more western states in the Midwest, upper Midwest. That's going to build into our region really for this weekend and be pretty much dominant throughout Saturday and Sunday, bringing us some more sunshine for tomorrow's forecast. But going back in a little bit here, we are going to have a wind chill advisory here issued around 11 tonight through tomorrow morning until 9. So that's going to be issued for those cold wind chills and wind speeds that we're going to be seeing into the morning hours of your Saturday morning. And our wind speeds are actually going to be sustained around the 20s and upper teens throughout today. And as we go through later tonight, they'll drop down to about 10 miles per hour. But our wind chills, they're going to be into the -20s and -30s tonight. So that's why we have a first alert day in place for tomorrow morning, along with the National Weather Service wind chill advisories. So we are going to be tracking this out for you this afternoon. Temperature sitting around a nice 5 degrees here, according to this model. We're going to see less cloud coverage as we go into tonight, and then temperatures will dip down to below zero again, be below zero through tomorrow morning, and then bounce back up into the single digits for the little bit higher for tomorrow afternoon across the region, around 8 degrees, 7 degrees, pretty much across southeastern Minnesota and northeast Iowa. But tomorrow night, back before we get into Sunday, we'll be seeing temperatures get a little bit colder. Climate Prediction Center is predicting us to be above average through about 90% above average through our region here as we are going to be heading into the next week here. So how warm are we just going to get? Well, like I said, we have to get through the hump around Saturday and Sunday where we're going to be about below average, about -6 degrees here before we get into the 30s, more mild temperatures being about 10 degrees above average. For today, we will be seeing some overcast skies, maybe mostly cloudy around 5 tonight, with temperatures into the single digits. Tomorrow, we're going to be having a little bit windier conditions throughout the evening hours, but more sunshine in the forecast here. And we have that first alert day in place for tomorrow morning for those wind chills. But take a look here. We are going to be tracking some snow showers on Tuesday and some wintry mixes on Thursday and Friday of next week.
All right, so we kind of just have to hunker down for this weekend and then warmer temps in our future.
Warmer temps on the way.
All right, looking forward to a bit of relief too. These past few days, it's been rough, just the tough wind and the coldness, and my hands are so dry.
I know, my knuckles are just dry here, so.
Yeah, I know, so that's gonna feel great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, David. It's double trouble for the planet we call home. Dan Smith finds out what would happen if the Earth suddenly doubled in size in your Moment of Science.
We're kicking off a full month's worth of planetary what-ifs from right here on Earth to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Here's question 1. What would happen if Earth were twice its current size? We'll get the math out of the way, though it's actually pretty easy. Doubling Earth's diameter would give it double the force of gravity and 8 times the mass. That would lead to a whole host of problems for current life. Any animal bigger than a dog, including you, might break some bones with a light jog since they can't handle suddenly weighing twice as much. There might be good news for some prey in the short term, but the ecosystem, the food chain would need major updates. How about plant life? Well, no more redwoods for you. The larger trees would snap under their own weight, and getting tall plants at all would require more energy for water to overcome gravity as it climbs up. There's also the little problem of angular momentum. Since doubling the size means 8 times the mass, that little v for velocity has to go lower to compensate. You end up with Earth spinning 32 times slower, with a single day's rotation now taking more than a month. That leads to temperature imbalance, with one side of the planet baking for 2 weeks in sunshine, while the other suffers in darkness. But wait, there's more. You now have 8 times the amount of reactive and unstable elements inside the planet. That would lead to hotter magma and more volcanoes. It would also make the fact you're now about 8,000 miles closer to the sun barely a footnote. I think we've done enough damage on Earth for this particular episode. Next week, let's cut the sun in half. Not really. Or maybe. You know what? I haven't decided yet. For this week's Moment of Science, I'm Dan Smith.
Well, if you've ever thought about what would happen if the Earth doubled in size, now you know. In this next story, we'll hear from a Mayo Clinic heart transplant recipient whose new heart made leaps and bounds to get to Rochester with the help from a dedicated team of state troopers. Stay with us. Road construction can be frustrating for anyone, but imagine what could happen if an organ donation got stuck in a backup. It's a risky scenario when someone's life is on the line. In this next story, a whole chain of people recently went to great lengths to avoid just that. Boyd Hooper reports.
The Gift of Life Transplant House near Mayo Clinic is an unlikely place to learn about one's boyhood misdeeds.
I grew up with a colorful life in a small town.
John Neuenschwander was known to all the officers in his North Dakota hometown.
Oh, you think?
Nothing too serious.
And will the following students come down to my office?
But good background for the story you're about to hear. In October, John, who now lives in Fargo, was on his way to a Mayo operating room like this to receive a donor heart being delivered to Rochester from the Twin Cities when his surgeon had a concern.
One stretch of road causing headaches for some travelers is Highway 52.
For months, construction had been slowing and even stopping traffic on the route John's new heart was supposed to be traveling in an unmarked car.
I was afraid, to have a poor outcome, obviously.
Mayo transplant surgeon Mauricio Villavicencio picked up the phone.
Yes, that's definitely a new one for me.
Mitch Elson, lieutenant with the Minnesota State Patrol, pondered.
Time wasn't on our side. They needed the heart down there ASAP. We didn't have flight available. We had cars.
Right. You are looking at video taken from the dashboard of the State Patrol squad car carrying the heart destined for John Neuenschwander's chest.
Precious cargo, very much.
Trooper Mike Pavir was the driver.
Speed range from 80 to 100. Everyone yielded, moved to the shoulder.
All right, sir.
That's Trooper Pavir's body cam as he pulls over near Zimbrota to transfer the heart to a Rochester district trooper. Also getting out of the car is a Mayo technician, escorting the heart packed in ice in that cooler being pulled from the back seat. A heart about to be loaded.
Pretty crazy.
In Trooper Quentin O'Reilly's car.
I'll put that up front.
Will it fit?
Hopefully. We didn't talk too much. We just got to convert or kind of hand it off. On we went. I looked at it a few times, just looking at a big old cooler sitting there, a foot away from me, and kind of think it's pretty surreal that it's right there.
With lights and siren, Trooper O'Reilly approaches the Mayo Clinic emergency entrance.
Next left, correct?
Inside, he removes the heart, which is then whisked away to its recipient, waiting, chest already open.
They delivered my heart.
John benefited greatly from that speedy delivery.
As soon as I implanted the heart and they started beating very strongly.
In your 300 heart transplants, have you ever enlisted the State Patrol before?
No, it was the first time. No, definitely.
I'm not ready to lose him. He means a lot to me.
3 months later, Ruth Ann Halls, John's partner, can't stop thinking about those troopers.
You saved my loved one's life. You had a part in that.
If only
big day.
They
very big day.
Could meet them.
Are you the guys?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Yes.
It means a lot.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
How you doing?
Better than I deserve.
I've been praying for this for a long time. I'm very thankful to these folks.
Thank you doesn't really cut it.
The young John Neuenschwander, who kept the cops jumping,
just so appreciate what you did.
now stands indebted to the troopers who helped keep John pumping.
You saw the red lights from the highway patrol, you went, oh God. Now it's a little different. Thank God.
What an absolutely incredible story. And did you catch the KTTC cameo? See what I did there? Here's Howard with what's next in the kitchen.
Can't decide whether you'd rather have a brownie or a chocolate chip cookie? Don't worry, we've got just the thing to solve that dilemma. Just the thing. I've got a question for you. Are you more of a brownie or a chocolate chip cookie kind of person? Over the last couple of weeks, I've asked the same question to a bunch of my friends, and about half of them were pretty decisive that they liked one over the other. But there were others who couldn't choose. They like both. If you're on the fence, then you're going to love today's recipe. It's a dessert that's part cookie and part brownie, and it goes together like this. The first thing we do is prepare a box of brownie mix according to the package directions. Then pour half the batter into a 9x13 pan. After spreading it evenly, we top it with slices of refrigerated chocolate chip cookie dough. Then we top that with the rest of the brownie batter before sprinkling on some chopped walnuts and chocolate chips. Now it's ready for the oven. After it bakes and cools, we cut it into bars and serve it with a tall glass of milk or next to a big scoop of vanilla ice cream. To get the recipe for our speckled brookie bars, which is half cookie, half brownie, and all decadent, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a doubly delicious way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
That may need to be the next thing I try when I bake. And David, I love baking on days when it's cold like this.
Definitely. I mean, a gooey brownie could definitely warm you up if you're a little bit cold out there. I did buy some dark chocolate chips to bring here to the station when I bake some cookies later next week. So get ready for that, Darian. So right now it is a little bit colder outside, so definitely you might need a sweet treat to warm you up. It's a little warm and gooey potentially, like a cookie or a brownie, but flurries right now on the patio at the moment, and a lot of overcast skies at Assisi Heights and some flurries you might be seeing there on the camera right now. We are seeing temperatures and wind chills below zero, at least for those wind chills. -17 here in Rochester and -12 in Albert Lea and Freeborn County there, but temperatures for our air temperatures are going to be into the single digits right now. Visibility is a little bit reduced there in Rochester, around 8 miles here to Preston at just 2. So depending where you are, you could see a reduction in some of that visibility this afternoon. So a lot of cloudy skies and some flurries in the forecast for this afternoon. Take a little bit of a wider look out. We are going to be seeing high pressure off towards our west build into the forecast, really starting for tomorrow and through this weekend. And the high pressure will be dominant throughout the weekend, bringing some more sunny skies for the forecast for Saturday. But as we head into this weekend, we'll see the last of these colder temperatures. The National Weather Service will have a wind chill advisory tonight through tomorrow morning, and that's why I have a first alert day in place for tomorrow morning for the cold temperatures and wind chills. But next week, we're tracking a big warm up in these temperatures and more mild conditions again. I'll have the details just ahead.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks so much, David. The snow can get in the way of a lot of things, like our travels and our driveways, but some regional farmers say it's a welcome sight when it comes to their crops. That's coming up, but first, here's a look at one of the stories you can see just after us on Investigate TV+.
On the next Investigate TV+.
Is childcare affordable? No, it's not.
Childcare costs soar nationwide.
I think that parents pay more than they can. I think that childcare workers are paid less than they should be. I wish I had a solution.
We examine how it's hurting families and what's being done to help bridge the gap.
Welcome to Knight's Menswear.
As we know, both Southeast Minnesota and much of Iowa received a good amount of snow last week. And while some people don't look forward to the snow, some farmers are welcoming it. They say along with providing insulation to roots and covering crops, the heavy snowfall is helping to replace the moisture in the soil. One researcher says it's kind of like a savings account. Last year's severe drought conditions forced plants to tap into the water savings account to try and help offset the lack of water, bringing that supply level down to critical levels.
1 foot of snow is equivalent to about an inch of water. And so when that snow hopefully then melts into the ground, we're replenishing the soil moisture. And as much as this snow is an inconvenience for shoveling and driving conditions, we really need to be adding more moisture to our soil.
Experts say while they hope to have good rainfall this summer, they'd like to see even more snow to build up moisture in case of another drought. All this snow has to be good for something, right? Our Ag Day Minute shares how it's helping one of our key waterways.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. All the snow and rain is helping to finally boost water levels along the Mississippi River. The southern part of the country picked up several inches of rain this week, along with some snow, and now the river has moved 18 feet higher than it was just 7 days ago, and up from record lows reached last year. Now, experts hope this will help ease the shipping problems and higher freight rates that have plagued agriculture up and down that river. Around 60% of U.S. grain exports utilize the Mississippi. Look for Kraft to add some new flavors to its cheese singles. Starting this month, the company will sell 3 new flavors: jalapeno, garlic and herb, and caramelized onion. The cheese will be sold as a pack of 16 slices at stores nationwide. Kraft hasn't introduced new flavors since sharp cheddar and pepper jack nearly 10 years ago. And for ranch dressing lovers, would you be willing to try this? Burt's Bees and Hidden Valley Ranch are teaming up for a whole line of lip balms featuring the flavors you'd find in a basket of chicken wings. Those flavors include Hidden Valley Ranch, buffalo sauce, crunchy celery, and fresh carrot. The collaboration started as a joke a couple of years ago when fans went wild over an April Fool's post on social media, but now It's the real deal. Bert says the line is only available while supplies last. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or anytime at agweb.com.
Our very own producer Kendall Shears is currently in Park City, Utah at the Sundance Film Festival. The festival is just getting underway and there's a lot of excitement going on. Here's Kendall with a sneak peek.
Hi there. It's the first day of the Sundance Film Festival and I am just so happy to be here. I got in yesterday around 6 p.m. in Park City, Utah. And right when I dropped off my bags at the lodge that I'm staying at, I met my roommates and they told me about volunteer screenings that were happening. They were showing two films, Porcelain War and It's What's Inside, and both these films were just incredible to watch. We got to meet the directors that made these films happen, and the first one, Porcelain War, was about Ukrainian artists struggling to survive and fighting Russia, but also making art at the same time and documenting what's going on with the current Ukrainian and Russia war. And the other movie, It's What's Inside, was a very suspenseful thriller movie about friends getting together before a wedding to play a game that, and of course, chaos ensues. It was so great to watch movies right off the bat. And I can't wait to share Sundance with you in a different way. There are so many exciting adventures that lie ahead, and I can't wait to share with you guys all the adventures that I'll be going on. Tune in later for more. Back to you.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist David Burgett.
You know where Kendall is, it looked like there was a lot of snowfall on the ground and colder conditions. So similar to us here back home, a lot of overcast skies right now. Still a lot of snow on the ground that when we got our system in last week that dropped about 3 to 7 inches of snow across the region. So snow for them and snow for us here around the region. Temperatures are going to be into the single digits still for this afternoon. Peaking here in Rochester around 3 degrees here just in a few hours. But as we go through the day today, we're going to see our wind speeds keep up into the about 15 to 16 miles per hour across the region around the area. So our wind speeds are going to bring our wind chill temperatures this afternoon to feel like it's into the negatives, double digits here across the region. Single digits here in Red Wing, but negative 18 degrees is what it feels like here in Rochester and negative 15 in Mason City. So very cold out today. A lot of overcast skies throughout much of our region. If you're north of the I-90 corridor here, creeping a little bit more southward into the region, taking a little bit more of a wider look here. We are going to be seeing this high pressure off to our west slowly build its way into our region over the course of tonight and into tomorrow, bringing some more sunny skies and a little bit nicer conditions through the weekend and even some winds in the forecast for Sunday. But taking a little bit closer look here as we really go through tonight into tomorrow morning, that's when we are going to have a wind chill advisory in place from the National Weather Service from Friday tonight into tomorrow morning at 9. So for those cold temperatures and wind chills that we are going to be seeing through the overnight hours, a lot of us will be underneath that wind chill advisory. And that's why we'll have a first alert day in place as our wind chills get into the negative 20s and negative
Will cost you a little bit more. A look at how the new prices and the reason behind the hike coming up. Department store Macy's is expected to make significant job cuts. Macy's will be cutting roughly thousands and thousands of jobs, and it isn't just employees that are going away. Macy's is also planning to close 5 of its stores as they try to reduce costs and boost slowing sales. The move comes as the CEO of Bloomingdale's prepares to take over the Macy's CEO role from the outgoing CEO that is currently in place. The cost of stamps and other USPS mailing services will be going up on Sunday. The U.S. Postal Service says the price adjustments are needed to achieve its Delivery for America 10-year plan. The proposed adjustments will raise mailing services products prices about 2%, with first-class forever stamps going from 66 cents to 68, and domestic postcards up cents to 53, and international postcards being upped from 150 to 155. The CDC is expanding its warning about the risk of salmonella in charcuterie meat. There are now 47 reported illnesses in 22 states linked to the Bussetto brand charcuterie sampler. More than 11,000 pounds of charcuterie meat products are being recalled by the company. The product was also sold under different names at Sam's Club and Costco. So far, there have been 10 hospitalizations linked to salmonella exposure. We'll be right back. If you like pizza and beer, we may have found the career for you. Iowa-based convenience store Casey's is looking to hire a chief pizza and beer officer. The position would sample and research the best beer and Casey's pizza combination, along with creating social media posts. The company has partnered with former NFL defenseman lineman Anthony Spice Adams to lead the search. If you're interested, you have until Wednesday to apply. Casey's began in Boone, Iowa, and is now the 3rd largest convenience chain and the 5th largest pizza chain in the U.S. David, is this something that you'd want to try out?
I definitely would. I threw my name in the ring. I used to bartend back in
go.
college, though. So
Yeah.
I get to pour a lot of beer, a lot of domestics for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
IPAs, tasted a lot of them, 36 on tap. So I can pair that with a pizza, I think.
Yeah. You just got to find that best combination to really drive it home.
Yeah, definitely.
And, I hope Casey's finds that.
Yeah, I hope Casey's finds that too. And if you're going to be out today, we're going to have cold temperatures before we get a warm up next week.
That's right. We hope you have a good one. We'll see you next time.